Dear students, last time we have started with the next topic, that is cultivation of mulberry. In cultivation of mulberry, we have explained about the selection of mulberry varieties, then propagation methods, then climatic conditions which are suitable for the normal growth of mulberry, such as atmospheric temperature, rainfall rate, atmospheric humidity, sunshine hours, elevations. These are the some of the abiotic factors which are present in the particular region where the mulberry cultivation is done, and these factors should be at the optimum level or the optimum range for the normal growth of mulberry. Then we also have explained the soil type, then planting or plantation methods. So while planting, one has to consider the different factors such as location and the topography of the mulberry garden or mulberry field, then preparation of the land, then planting season, direction of planting, planting distance, and selection of planting material. So these are the some of the points which should be considered while plantation of the mulberry in the field. Then we have explained the planting methods such as planting cuttings directly in the field, raising saplings in the nursery and then planting in the field, then raising saplings in the plastic bags and then transplanting. So these are the some of the methods which we can adopt for the planting mulberry in the field. We have also explained about the preparation of nursery or preparation of saplings in the nursery for the plantation of mulberry prior to the actual planting mulberry in the field or in the mulberry garden. So these are the various points which we have explained last time. So today we'll continue the next practice, which is also essential for the proper growth of the mulberry and good health of the mulberry leaves, that is manuring. So manure, that is organic fertilizer. In addition to manure, we can add the compost to improve the fertility of the soil before plantation of mulberry. So addition of manure after preparation of the land and after laid down the field into the series of furrows or the flat bed for the plantation purpose, one has to uh, add the organic manure or the compost to improve the fertility of the soil before plantation of mulberry. The addition of compost or manure increases the water holding or water retention capacity of the soil. It also improves the texture of soil for good rooting. Then organic manure or the compost also increases microbial composition in the soil, and the nutrients like micronutrients or macronutrients can also supplied by the organic manure or the compost. So there are different type of materials which can be used for the uh, fertilization of the land or the soil, and these are either farmyard waste or farmyard manure, then compost. Some farmers can use to neem cake, groundnut cake, then introduction of leguminous cover crops between the rows of the main plantation can also help for the uh, soil, can also help for the improvement or for the improvement of soil texture. Then these organic manure or uh, farmyard waste can also improve the number of bacteria which are useful for the uh, fixation of the nitrogen in the mulberry field. Then the organic manure can also supply the micronutrients as well as major nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and the potassium, among which nitrogen is the most major important and vital nutrient for the increased production of good quality leaves. So, in addition to major nutrients, that is NPK, the number of micronutrients uh, can also be supplied due to the organic manure in the mulberry field. Then next point is interculture. So after plantation of the mulberry in the field, after about a month, one has to do the first interculture practice, that is periodic upturning of the soil between the rows of mulberry or mulberry rows, periodic upturning of the soil between the rows of mulberry so as to control weeds or elimination of weeds and to make the soil porous and aerated to up to 15 centimeter deep. This will help for the aeration of the soil, or this will also allow the percolation or the water to soak in the land, and this also facilitate the root respiration. So this is having much importance because due to the upturning of the soil periodically, the weeds developed in between the rows of the mulberry can be eliminated, uh, or this can also help to soak the water below in the soil, and this will also allow the passage of oxygen to facilitate the root respiration. So the interculture practice will help in increasing water holding capacity of the soil, reduction in diseases on the mulberry crop, and it also enhance the nitrification. So in a previous step, we have added the manure or the compost in the mulberry field that will provide the number of nutrients and also the microorganism like bacteria which can help in the improvement of the fertility level of the soil together with the increase in microbial composition or the bacterial composition. So ultimately this will help in a uh, improvement in the fertility level, and that can supply the optimum quantity of the nutrients together with enhancing or increasing the nitrification by the bacteria. So interculture practice is very important for the elimination of the weeds together with the soil become porous and improving the water holding capacity, then allowing root respiration, uh, or this will also help in water holding capacity due to the porous soil, water will pass uh, below. So these are the interculture practices which should be done by the sericulturist either by using bullocks or the by using tools. The manually the interculture practice can be done. So interculture practice can be done manually or by using bullocks. So in a year there are should be 6 to 8 times. See, this interculture practice can be done 6 to 8 times a year, and this will help in a removal of weeds which are the undesired in the crop, and that can compete with nutrients or the water or air, and ultimately these factors, that is proper ventilation, then nutrients and the water cannot be shared by the weeds. So interculture practice is very important for the proper growth of the mulberry. Then next point is water management. So the plantation of the mulberry can be done by various methods. So the one common method of plantation in the field, that is a furrow method, where the series of ridges and furrows made in the field, and after that the saplings are planted on both the sides of the ridges. So before to plant direct branch cuttings directly in the furrows or ridge, in the furrows or ridges, the land is first wet uh, by allowing the flow of water in the furrows or the series of furrows. So first the land is flooded or made wet by allowing water flow in the furrows, and after that the branch cuttings or saplings are pushed or planted on both the sides of ridges. So water will pass below, or water will pass out through the furrows, and the water will taken up in the ridges by the capillary action. So water ultimately in the ridge region, in the ridges, the root develops in the ridges, and water will pass from below through the furrows. Uh, Even during rainy season, the water will easily pass out through the furrows, and the mulberry plants get protected from the rotting of the roots. So water management can be done on the basis of the plantation. So first water management or first method of water irrigation, that is furrow method. So wherever the furrow method is used for the plantation purpose, so we can provide water irrigation through the furrow method. So series of ridges and furrows are made in the land first, and then mulberry plants are planted, either direct branch cuttings or saplings or seedlings, whatever the planting material used. So after plantation, one can provide water irrigation through the furrow method. So ridges and furrows, where one can manage the proper water irrigation. Then second method of plantation can be a flat bed method, where rectangular flat bed are prepared in the land, and while preparing the rectangular beds, the bunds on four sides are prepared. Bunds on four sides, and in between these bunds there is a flat bed. So the desired number of plants can be planted in the rectangular bed, and water can be allowed from one side in the rectangular bed, where also there is much of the saving of water, or it is also a convenient method for the water irrigation. So usually these two methods are used for the water irrigation, that is furrow method or flat bed method. The third method, that is basin method. This basin method is usually used for the tree plantation purpose. So basins or trenches of about 1 to 1.5 meter diameter can be prepared, and the water can be provided to the basin methods by either drip irrigation. So water can be drawn directly in the pits or trenches or in the basin. uh, so there is no any loss of water. uh, so wherever there is a scarcity of water in such regions, the basin method is adopted for the water irrigation. So water is directly drawn into the basins. So basins are usually used for the tree plantation. So, irrigation of water from the supply source is led into the basin around the trunk or around the base of the mulberry tree. So, the diameter of the basin may vary according to the age and size of the mulberry tree, that is ranging from 1 to 1.5 meter. So, these are the three methods. Then fourth method, that is overhead or sprinkler method. So, overhead method or sprinkler method can be used in the wavy lands or the undulating lands where the bushes or the mulberry trees are grown in the uh, in the land which is wavy or having not a plain level. uh, in such conditions, the method of irrigation, that is overhead, can be practiced in the undulating lands where low and high, small and large bushes of the mulberry can be cultivated. So, the advantages of the overhead or sprinkler method is it is most efficient in economy of the water use. So, there is a economy of water use in the overhead method. There is a uniform distribution of water on the foliage. Means this is again the method of irrigation similar to drip irrigation, where water is drawn directly to the mulberry trees. So, even quantity of the water can be given to the mulberry plants. Then this will also avoid the percolation loss in a porous and sandy soil. In case of porous or sandy soil, the water loss is prevented due to the overhead method, and it is most suitable method for the emergency irrigation. So, whenever there is a scarcity or shortage of water, at that time we can manage the a definite quantity or a particular quantity of water to each tree of the mulberry, and thus is called as overhead. So, water is directly carried and drawn or given directly to the mulberry tree. So, there is a much saving of the water. Water can be given uh, with a uniform or a even quantity to the all trees, and there is a uniform irrigation and can avoid the water loss from the percolation in the porous or sandy soils. So, this is about the water irrigation method. Then next point is pruning. So, before to explain or to start the pruning methods, the mulberry, this is the image showing mulberry field uh, and showing the furrow method. Now, this is the crop representing partially harvested field, and on the left side there is a smaller uh, grown mulberry representing the furrow method, uh, from where the mulberry has been harvested, and on the right side mulberry is much grown representing the partial harvested uh, field of the mulberry, representing furrow method, where the series of furrows with a distance of about 2 feet are prepared. So, series of ridges and furrows are made in the field, and the mulberry saplings are planted on both the sides of ridges with a consideration of the proper distance, maybe 45 centimeter to 60 centimeter between the plants, and the distance between the rows is about 2 feet, that is 60 centimeter. So, between the two rows there is a furrow, on either sides there is a plantation of the furrows or on either side of the ridges. So this is the furrow method of the uh, mulberry field, where we can see the partially harvested mulberry field and the furrow method of plantation or furrow method of water irrigation. Then next point, that is fertilizer schedule. So after uh, plantation of the mulberry, or when the mulberry plants are well settled in the field, uh, in addition to organic manure or the compost, will have to give or will have to add the certain amount of chemical fertilizers in the form of NPK, that is nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. So these are the major nutrients which are essential even after the addition of organic manure, or when even though there is an optimum level of nutrients or the fertility level of the soil, the will have to manage the or will have to give the chemical fertilizers in adequate quantity uh, during the growth of the mulberry crop. So during mulberry growth of the plant, we'll have to give definite doses of the chemical fertilizer so as to uh, provide these nutrients continuously, and we'll have to manage the continuous growth of the mulberry so as to obtain the good quality and quantity of mulberry leaves. So for the quality and quantity of mulberry leaves, so as to obtain the good quality and good quantity of mulberry leaves, will have to provide the different chemical fertilizers representing major nutrients, that is nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium, in addition to the micronutrients. So the quality and quantity of mulberry leaves depends upon the soil and water available. Soil and water available. So mulberry plants require number of elements like calcium, magnesium, manganese, copper, iron, sulfur, molybdenum, boron, chlorine. So these are the minor nutrients which can be available, which can be made available in the soil partly are added by the sericulturist or the farmer during or before the plantation. So that can be provided through the organic manure or the compost, which can contain these micro elements or the micronutrients, in addition to the carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. These are the major nutrients. So these nutrients can be made available for the growth of the plant from the soil and from the water which we provide during the water irrigation. So water irrigation and the addition of fertilizers in the soil, together with the number of elements which are readily present in the soil. So the nutrients, that is micronutrients, mega nutrients or major nutrients, and this can be made available either by the soil itself or the water or the fertilizers that we add in the soil. So there should be a regular or periodic doses of the fertilizer should be given during the growth of mulberry, even after the plantation of the mulberry in the field. So the fertilizer schedule for the rain-fed crop. So the first dose of 1:1:1 of NPK, first dose of NPK, that is nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. So these are the major nutrients. So this should be given periodically in the mulberry field. So the first dose of 1:1:1. So the proportion of NPK 1:1:1. So first dose of 50 kg per hectare can be given to the rain-fed crop. So, and this particular dose of NPK is given in the rain-fed mulberry garden after bottom pruning, or during the onset of monsoon. So in the beginning of monsoon or during onset of the monsoon, that is June or July. In the month of June and July, the first dose of NPK, that is nitrogen 50 kg, phosphate 50 kg and potassium 50 kg. So 1:1:1. So 50 kg dose of the NPK per hectare can be given in the rain-fed mulberry field during the onset of monsoon, that is month of June and July, and just after this particular dose is given just after the bottom pruning, or when the plants or the branches are cut uh, close to the soil, earth level or soil level. Then second dose of 50 kg of nitrogen per hectare can be given during September. In the month of September, October, the second dose of urea. So nitrogen fertilizer is urea, the phosphate fertilizer is superphosphate, or the potassium type of fertilizer is potash. So urea, superphosphate and the potash, like muriate of potash, in the quantity of 50 kg. So mixture of which as a first dose can be given in month of June and July, and second dose of only 50 kg of nitrogen, that is urea, per hectare in the month of September and October. So this is the uh, fertilizer schedule of the chemical fertilizer, that is NPK, for the rain-fed mulberry garden. Then for the irrigated crop, for the irrigated mulberry, the doses of these chemical fertilizer are more. So the requirement of the irrigated mulberry garden with respect to the fertilizers, that is NPK, that is nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium, is little more because of the availability of the water irrigation facilities. We can give the we can give more fertilizer, we can add more fertilizers and can obtain more yield of the mulberry leaves from the irrigated mulberry crop. So the fertilizers which are to be applied are in the ratio of 2.5 nitrogen as to 1 phosphorus as to 1 potassium. So NPK 2.5 as to 1 as to 1, NPK 2.5 as to 1 as to 1. This is the proportion of the NPK or the fertilizers recommended for the irrigated mulberry field. So this particular proportion of the NPK can be split into 5 doses, and these 5 doses can be given after or given during the 5 harvest, after 5 harvest. So after every harvesting 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5, after 5 harvest, uh, the dose of fertilizers of NPK given to the irrigated mulberry field. So fertilizers can be given, NPK fertilizers can be given in the ratio of 2.5 as to 1 as to 1, and this proportion can be split into 5 doses, and each of the dose can be given after harvesting. So this particular dose can be split into 5 doses and each of which is given after every harvest, means after 5 harvestings. So fertilizers such as N, P, K, so the fertilizers, that is nitrogen 300 kg, phosphorus 120 kg and potash 120 kgs. So this is the proportion of the NPK, that is 2.5:1:1. So quantity of nitrogen is 300 kg, quantity of phosphate or phosphorus is 120 kg and potash or potassium 120 kg. So this is the proportion, actual proportion, and this can be split into 5 doses. So first dose will consist of 60 kg of nitrogen, 60 kg of phosphorus and 60 kg of potash. So 60, 60, 60. So first dose of 60, 60, 60 kg given after first harvest. Then second dose of 60 kg urea or nitrogen after second harvest. Then third dose will contain 60 kg of nitrogen, 60 kg of potassium and 60 kg of phosphorus. So third dose will have again 60, 60, 60 kg of NPK after third harvest. Fourth dose can be given after fourth harvesting, and that will contain 60 kg of urea or nitrogen. Similarly, the fifth dose will also contain 60 kg of nitrogen, and that is given after fifth harvest. So this is the fertilizer schedule can be given to the rain-fed or irrigated mulberry crop in a recommended doses. So in addition to these chemical fertilizers, that is NPK, the one can uh, add or give the fertilizers in the form of organic manure can also be applied. So besides these chemical fertilizers, we can give organic manure or the compost khat, uh, compost fertilizers such as vermicompost, farmyard manure, sericultural waste, poultry manure, green manure, then biogas slurry and the press mud. So these are the some of the organic materials can also be given side by side or can also be supplemented with the chemical fertilizers or the chemical fertilizer schedule together with the organic manure or the organic fertilizers can also be given in the mulberry garden or mulberry field, and this can be used. So these are the different type of organic manures: vermicompost, then farmyard manure, sericulture waste, poultry manure, green manure, biogas slurry, and the press mud. So these are the some of the uh, organic type of fertilizers or organic manures can also be given to the mulberry garden or mulberry crop so as to get uh, optimum growth or maximum growth of the mulberry plant and can yield the good quality leaves. So these are the some of the important aspects which should be managed properly during the mulberry cultivation. Then next point is pruning, that will explain next time.